Welcome to Brandon Hall Group's Excellence at Work podcast. You will hear from industry leaders covering innovative, cutting-edge business, learning, and HR topics that weave current market research and technology into each episode. Our Excellence at Work podcast is hosted by Brandon Hall Group's Chief Operating Officer and Principal HCM Analyst, Rachel Cook.
Hi, welcome to Brandon Hall Group's Excellence at Work podcast. I'm excited to have with me today, I have Marie Padberg, the leader of Global Talent Attraction from McKinsey & Company. Hi, Marie. How are you?
Hi, Rachel. Good, thanks.
And also with us, I have Blair Cecil, the leader of Global Talent Attraction from McKinsey & Company. Hi, Blair. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm great, Rachel. Thanks for having us. We're really excited to chat with you today.
I am too. We're going to be talking about talent acquisition, onboarding, some of the best practices that your team and organization has been focused on to attract talented people across all aspects of different functions and different communities and areas around the world. So again, I'm really excited for our conversation. Also, just a little bit about McKinsey & Company and your organization and you both I want to share with our listeners today. McKinsey & Company received 10 HCM Excellence Awards this past year, a gold in talent acquisition, which we're going to be talking about today, 7 L&D, Learning and Development Awards, mostly gold, and also 2 in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Congratulations. That's a major accomplishment, being recognized by Brandon Hall Group's analyst team and also an industry of peers across the world. We have professionals that make up our judges from around a variety of different organizations from all over the world. So it is, you're being evaluated by just an esteemed group of learning and HR leaders.
Thank you. We were thrilled as well. It was definitely a highlight of our year this year, and so great for all of our colleagues. They were really excited to receive the awards.
Agreed.
And we are, so our favorite time of the year too is to recognize companies, and it's, for all the effort, there's a lot of work, not just in the day-to-day operations, but really kind of thinking through your process, thinking through the impact that you had, how you measure it, how you've developed it, and so to be able to continue to carry that effort and to apply for these opportunities, and then from there build upon it, because it doesn't just end there. Your initiatives continue to carry on, and you continue to grow them and to develop them. So it's a great accomplishment. And just to share a little bit about Blair, as I mentioned, Blair is the leader of Global Talent Attraction for McKinsey & Company. She and her co-lead, Marie Padberg, have a unique shared model to set the firm's talent attraction strategy and lead a team of about 1,200 professionals globally to hire into all roles across the firm. Over nearly 20 years at McKinsey, your career, Blair has played a leadership role across the full talent attraction model, from office hiring to campus sourcing to experienced hire strategy to founding and leading the global centers of excellence to drive innovation and expertise at scale.
Done it all, Rachel.
Yes.
That's right. Well, that's what 20 years will do for you. That's right. Lots of opportunities.
And it sounds like you both have had about 20 plus years at McKinsey.
We're very similar on many dimensions. Yes.
You joined McKinsey in 2003 as a consultant serving clients in marketing and customer value creation across a range of industries, including banking, insurance, and telecommunications. And over the course of your work, or over the course of Marie's work and studies, she realized her passion for fostering talent. And in 2007, transitioned to McKinsey's people team with a focus on recruiting. And in 2012, she founded McKinsey's Next Generation Women Leadership Program. So that's
which is a really big deal, by the way. Marie wouldn't say that herself, but that's one of our flagship programs that has really helped us change the game on hiring diversity. And I think Marie is known for being an innovator and entrepreneur, and that's just one of the examples that her legacy is about, which is pretty cool.
And you've been recognized for that as well. So, and then hopefully we have our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion conference in June of next year. And so maybe you'll be able to share your best practices for developing that program and hiring diverse talent across, different segments and women in the industry. So I would love to hear more. And for today, I think let's get started, Blair. Can you share a bit about with great talent at a premium, companies must look at the talent pool differently, as we know, in order to find people they need, especially for higher wage jobs. What is McKinsey doing to find highly skilled workers who have not gone through traditional roles?
Oh, this is such an important question. I'm so glad you asked it, Rachel. I feel those of us who've spent our careers in talent recognize that this really feels like a moment right now that, across employers, Marie and I speak to lots of our peers who lead talent attraction across a wide range of global organizations. And this is really top of mind for everyone. The idea that we know top talent is everywhere. How do we reach that talent beyond the traditional channels that we have historically focused on? And so McKinsey is embracing this moment. And historically, we have had a more narrow set of top sources that we've hired from. But again, as we as a firm aspire in our next century, because we're just about to flip to our second century, which is really exciting as an organization, and for those of us who share in our mission and our purpose, we know as we want to drive positive, enduring change in the world, it's an imperative. We don't just want to attract increasingly different and diverse kinds of talent. We have to, not only to be able to deliver distinctive client service, because our own research shows us that client outcomes are better when diverse teams are driving the work, but it also makes our firm a richer and better place for our people. So we've really been on a journey since Marie and I have been leading talent attraction. We started out hiring from about 700 sources globally. We're now at about 1,700, and we have a big aspiration to hire from 5,000 different sources around the world. So that doesn't just mean going to new to us schools, for example. It also means focusing on new kinds of talent. So we've historically hired what we'll call ready to work talent pools, who are sort of job ready from day one. And we are now expanding into, let's call them more ready to learn or ready to grow talent pools. Things like data boot camps, tech apprenticeships. We've recently in the US launched a new program for veterans to try and reach those who have served in the military and have a different path than some of the ones traditionally coming from our schools. We've also joined some exciting external partnerships. There's one called Tear the Paper Ceiling, which is a recently launched campaign here in the US that aims to change the hiring trajectory for 50 million, what they call stars. And these are workers who are skilled through alternative routes. And McKinsey is proud to be a partner with them to change the narrative to say you don't have to have a 4-year college degree to be a highly skilled worker. So those are just some examples of we're really trying to aggressively open the aperture of our hiring because, again, we know top talent is everywhere.
And it goes very much hand in hand, Blair, right, with our push to really change the way the world perceives also McKinsey and really pushing our narrative out to, like you said, top talent that is everywhere. Because frankly, Rachel, if you expand sources, some people might not know who we are. They don't know what consulting is. They might think, oh, McKinsey is not interested in a profile like me. I can't see myself at McKinsey. So we're working very hard to ensuring that people believe that they have a fair chance to join us and that we are actually really interested in great talent. Because like you said, Blair, great talent lives everywhere. So we don't want to narrow ourselves just to a certain set of preset schools. But it's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight.
That's right.
And the majority of what you learn is in the organization. So if you can give them access to these experiences and to these robust or rigorous opportunities, then, the education or the post-education from high school it's a nice to have, and it certainly, we don't want to devalue it, because you know, depending on where you go and what degree you get, it does add a lot of value. However,
Sure.
it may not necessarily be for everyone. So I think having, you know, the ability to be able to connect with different people from different areas and different points of time, you're just going to expand your talent pool as you're doing. And with that, what is McKinsey doing to ensure its talent culture is both distinctive and inclusive, attracting and developing talent from a wide range of backgrounds? Because I'm sure this isn't, as much as you're doing it, it's not as easy as it seems.
No, it's not. No.
No.
So like Blair said, it's about expanding the sources, going beyond just the traditional campus sources, so different types of programs. As I said, changing the image that we have, maybe, you know, within certain populations, that we are distinctive and inclusive, and that we're looking for any type of talent. But then a big portion of it is also finding the right people, and then being able to identify who are those best people from those new sources and new areas where we recruit from. So we've had to make changes to our assessment model to ensure that we are assessing for potential and don't get biased by the pedigree that people bring. Also, what we see, I think, in particular in the consulting industry, is that there's a pretty high level of preparedness that we see in some of our candidates. So
Yes.
making sure everybody has equal access to preparation, information, that is an extremely transparent process where everybody can thrive and be at their best, was extremely important to us. And we have made other changes to our process. For example, we are looking for leaders who can create an inclusive environment in their teams. So we are assessing for inclusive leadership in our interview process. We've recently added an interview focusing on values and purpose, because that is so important, especially for today's generation, that the candidate connects with the purpose of the firm. And I think it will make what you said earlier, Rachel, like the onboarding and the, the success at a firm afterwards so much more relevant if you connect to the purpose and the values of a firm. And then also we are assessing problem solving skills, which are of course extremely important for a firm like McKinsey, whose job is to create purpose, to create positive, enduring change in the world by solving problems for our clients. Problem solving is core to who we are and what we do, but we've made changes to that and now testing that in the initial stages of the assessment process through our game Solve, which is completely set outside of the business world to make sure that nobody's advantaged depending on their background. That's a game that doesn't require any preparation, and it's extremely engaging, and I dare to say maybe even fun to play. And it has leveled the playing field more. Maybe it's going too far calling it fun, but let's see. You could ask.
I think it's fun.
But I do think it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But it has leveled the playing field more than other tests that we have used in the past, which were more traditional pen and paper tests, which were more set in a classical business context type. And we continue to evolve. I mean, this is not a one-time effort. We continue to evolve our assessment model because that is so crucial at finding those great candidates that we want to hire for McKinsey.
And I hope, I think
absolutely
what Marie outlined in terms of the kinds of qualities, capabilities, skills that we look for really are about the whole person. It is not just, for example, academic achievement or scores that you get on a test. I think that's often a huge myth in the marketplace, is that's what we're focused on. Exactly. But we actually want to hire people who are resilient, are curious, are humble, are kind, are hungry to drive change, ambitious and driven, but also fun and interesting and different. And so I think that is something, again, we're really on a journey with our assessment model. We've been sort of leading the industry for management consulting in terms of how firms assess consulting talent. And we're really trying to revolutionize that. So it's the next generation of top consulting talent for us. We require very different skills in our new world, and we are constantly updating our assessment model to reflect that.
And both of you have been at McKinsey for over 20 years, and they should actually analyze your your behavior.
Reverse engineer the two of us.
Um,
I don't know.
Not sure.
I feel that people are too quick just to jump into a company, and really, especially when they're first starting their career, and they want to go to a big firm and they want to go and maybe get 2 years of experience and then move on to something else. But I think they're missing out because they are either maybe in the wrong role, but they should then look into a different role if that's not for them. But, truly give the company a chance, because you gain so much more at staying someplace. And so I think companies need to start looking at some of the attributes of why people stay and why people leave. And they do, the engagement scores and all of that. But, what makes someone like you two different than somebody else with maybe the same background that you may have, but didn't choose to stay or left? I find that interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a super important point, because if I reflect back to the two of us, Blair, we have taken a more unconventional path. We've joined as a consultant, switched into a talent role. Other people have joined other paths, switched into other roles, switched back. So we've taken advantage of a lot of the flexibility that McKinsey is giving. But sometimes I don't think people actually understand the full extent of what is possible. To be honest, my role, I stumbled into a little bit by accident because I was looking for something and I ended up on the wrong page, and I was like, oh, this looks really interesting. So it's up to us as well as an organization to make these various career paths really clear and transparent, and making sure that we bring home this message about self-authorship. Look, there's not one path that McKinsey gives to everybody and says, okay, here, go run and see how far you get. But you are in charge of your own journey. You are the author of your own story. You can take, 100 different paths and directions, and it's all great and awesome as long as you feel fulfilled, you feel like you are making a difference, you feel purpose and meaning in what you do, and you feel like you can grow and learn. This is something extremely important to McKinsey and really core and part of our DNA, this continuous quest for development and learning and apprenticeship that never really stops. And so it's encouraging people more to look for that, like you said, Rachel, also within the organizations you are at, because often you can get so much more learning out of your current organization if you just look around, if you just talk to people, if you connect, if you ask questions, if you, like you said, Blair, if you're curious, you're interested. And so that's also something that is very important to us.
Is that how you define your value proposition?
Yes, I think that's a big part of it.
Please,
I think
go
that's
ahead,
a big
Blair.
part of our value proposition. No, Rachel, I think it's the right question. I think we are a place, Marie and I joke about this all the time, that we've each, between the two of us, been here for collective 40 years, which sounds a bit horrifying. And, there's no element of our roles that we're dialing it in. Even after this many years, right, we are continually being challenged and stretched, and every week there's something that we're asked to do or that we need to figure out that we haven't done before, that's new for us, that's a little bit scary to go. And even as we've been here for so long, I think that is something that really defines a bit of the culture of our firm. Is we are all people who like being stretched. We actually embrace and enjoy that little bit of anxiety when you think, I don't know that I know how to do this, or I'm going to raise my hand for this opportunity and I don't know if this is going to be the right fit or not. So I think that's something we also encourage in others, is be willing to take risks, be willing to be a little bit out of your comfort zone. And in our firm, that is rewarded, I think, quite richly by giving you the opportunity, as Marie said, to self-author your own journey. No one is going to say to you, okay, Rachel, here are the 5 next career steps you should take. Yes, we have wonderful apprenticeship models. Marie and I are both so grateful for our own sponsors and mentors who have helped guide us along the way. But at the end of the day, we have really always felt empowered to push our own career forward. And again, a big part of that, I believe, is taking risks. So I think that is something that's advice to people, whether it's within your own organization or outside of your own organization. Be willing to take some risks, be willing to do the scary things sometimes. And that's often the moment that really accelerates your career.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's also about, sorry, Rachel.
No,
I was going to say, it's also about thinking, where are you making a difference as an individual? like you said, it's
That's
just
right.
dialing in. It's really thinking about how can I change something that I'm excited about? How do I make a difference? How do I build a great team? How do I sponsor others? Because sponsorship doesn't only happen at the senior level. It could already happen at
That's right.
the entry levels where you help somebody who joined, half a year behind you, or how you're making the firm or the organization you're working in a better place. So not thinking about what's the time you've served in a role and therefore you get ahead and this is your path, but think about what is the impact and the difference you really want to make.
That's right.
And I think that resonates quite well with today's talent as well, because we have seen through the pandemic, one of the 3 shifts we have observed is definitely a much stronger sense towards purpose and meaning. Because when everybody was sitting at home, I think you really spend a lot of time evaluating, what am I doing? Am I excited about what I'm doing? And that was one of the big shifts that we observed, next to a drive for flexibility and, of course, technology that has made a huge quantum leap forward, especially also in talent attraction.
Right. And your, I think the tone of your culture, how people feel connected, and the level of autonomy or personal responsibility, but trust. So they have to be supported and trusted. And it sounds like you're building that, and you're enabling people to have a path, but then also have some flexibility in what that path is.
Yeah.
And I keep using you too as an example, maybe because you're here today and your background, but you came from different parts of the business, and Blair as well. So I think that having more experiences and different functions and coming to learning or whatever it might be, because even a CEO, they're not just start off as a manager, they start off somewhere and they expand their expertise by taking risk and testing out different areas that they can excel in, and then continue to propel, upwards. So the same thing as a leader, the more that you stretch yourself and apply yourself to different areas of the business, that just helps you understand and be able to manage better and to be able to bring new ideas better, to foster innovation. So going back to talent acquisition, what are some of the best uses of automation in talent acquisition, at the same time keeping the candidate experience human and personalized? How do you?
That's a tough balance.
How do you, foster this culture and have it bring that human into the technology?
Yeah, it's super relevant because there are new solutions popping up left, right, and center. There's so much HR technology coming up, and then equally there's so much more stringent legislation coming up to also control some of the automations and AI options that are out there. How we've used it, and it's not so much automation, it's more tech enablement, was definitely during Corona, where we've switched to, during Corona, we switched to 100% virtual, of course, of everything. But we learned that it's actually really possible to have good conversations and build meaningful relationships also via digital tools. And to come back to what we said at the beginning, to expand our sourcing, make McKinsey open and welcoming to everybody. Of course, it's much easier to do that via digital tools because we can't go everywhere. That's just not a scalable model. So the tech enablement has definitely allowed us to reach out and connect to a lot more candidates all over the world. Of course, there's then also this whole idea around how can you automate anything administrative? And there where, the sky's the limit. I would love to automate everything administrative as much as possible to allow our recruiters to really build meaningful relationships with our candidates. So we're trying to push that, right? And it's like things, data entry and interview scheduling and all those things, but even CRM efforts to be much more tailored in terms of what we share with our candidates that's really of their interest. And then, like I said earlier, digital has also allowed us to really make our parts of our assessment model more engaging and more fun and more interesting than a typical pen and paper test in the office. But it's a space that's rapidly evolving and that we're definitely watching. Sorry, Blair.
And I think too, as at the beginning of our conversations, we talked a bunch about how we are massively expanding the kinds of people that we're trying to reach and hire. And as Marie pointed out earlier, many more of those people have no idea what maybe management consulting is. They have no idea who McKinsey is. And so digital is going to be critical for us to be able to sort of open our doors in a virtual way and let people look in. And I think for our firm in particular, that's really important. Part of our sort of brand ethos has been a bit mysterious, right? That McKinsey is sort of considered to be a bit of a closed door. Confidentiality is one of our core values around our client service work. But I think that has translated into the sense in the marketplace that we are unknowable or that we're sort of unreachable. And digital, Marie and I are so excited to invest in digital ways to truly open our doors to new kinds of talent so that they can come in and experience both what we do, but who we are. And of course, that who we are, the culture, our values, our sense of purpose, the sort of McKinsey-ness that binds all of us together, even though we're a super, super diverse global firm, that's really hard to describe to people except in a very sort of tactile, one-to-one conversational way. And so how do we scale that efficiently so that many, many more people get an insight into who we are and get to experience what we do in a way that's really compelling, but is also, to Marie's point, flexible and on their terms.
And onboarding is, a very important part of talent acquisition. And I want to bring up onboarding because often, many times, companies don't have an effective onboarding process and it's not differentiated across different types of hires. And McKinsey won a Brandon Hall Group Excellence Award, a gold one for best onboarding for experienced hires or senior experienced hires. As we wrap up here, we mentioned a little bit earlier about taking personal responsibility of your career and, voicing or asking questions, to kind of understand what is always available. So as you bring on board new employees and you want them to have control and responsibility of their career growth, can you expand a little bit more or give some advice of what companies should be doing to enable employees to have more control of their professional development?
Yes, there are definitely a number of ways that we have implemented to help our colleagues self-author, that's how we call it, self-author their journey. Or when we started, we always talked about make your own McKinsey. So one of it is that our learning colleagues in the people function, they have evolved the learning platform that we use to be much more tailored, much more giving you the right learning recommendation and advice in the moments of need, linked also to the feedback that you get. McKinsey has a very strong feedback culture. So when you receive your feedback, the learning platform automatically links and gives suggestions to what courses you might want to take. And some of it is in person. Some of them are, self-paced learning. Some of them are online. So it's a wide variety at the exposure that our colleagues have exposure to. Some of it is proprietary training from McKinsey, but we also partner with external organizations. We've also implemented stronger credentialing and badging where people can share with McKinsey and with their colleagues what type of expertise they bring. That, of course, is very important also to what you shared earlier, Blair, for experienced hires who already have some expertise from prior to McKinsey and they want that expertise recognized also at the firm. So when, people look for colleagues to staff on a project, there are ways in which they can search for that expertise and then have faster access and transparency about the colleagues. But then, of course, a lot of it is just managing and discussing your own development plans. So there's a lot of focus and emphasis on helping the professional development colleagues who are taking care of the consultants who are on a staffing basis and they don't have a direct line manager, but also the direct line managers for the parts of the organization where it's more traditional organization, to have those discussions, to really make sure people sit down at the beginning of every year to say, what are my plans? What are my goals? What do I want to grow in? What do I want to get exposure to? And then following up throughout the year with that, giving people moments of apprenticeship, giving people opportunities and access, so ensuring that everybody has a sponsor. For example, every year in January, we launch a global apprenticeship and sponsorship survey where everybody at McKinsey globally is going to be asked who's sponsoring you, who's mentoring you, who's inspiring you to make sure that we recognize and celebrate those sponsors and mentors that are widely recognized as being great at their job and at sponsoring also a diverse group of people, but also helping those that struggle to find sponsors, that don't really know how to find a mentor, to help them make the most out of it. Because frankly, I always believe there's nobody in this world who has reached a certain leadership level who has not have my English. I'm tongue twister, who's not had help along the way. That's what I wanted to say, right? Everybody has had help along the way. So having mentors and sponsors is just very crucial. And that comes back to one of the things that is also, I think, great about McKinsey is this whole data-driven approach to really use data and insights to help our people, our teams, but then also our people on their development journey.
That'll be great. And the analytics, the people part or any type of analytics is so crucial to understanding how best to kind of create this structure and these opportunities and, how to use the data properly too, because there's a lot of data, but
absolutely
how to use it effectively and to make better decisions or to create better experiences across the different aspects of talent acquisition and onboarding is crucial. So thank you, Marie. Thank you, Blair, for joining me today in this conversation. And I can tell you both are very passionate and have a lot to say about the work that you're doing and the great examples that you have underway that have been recognized and that I'm sure you will continue to be recognized for. So I look forward to future discussions about your approach and your experience and your passion for what you do. I love having this chat with you both. So thank you again. Have a good week and take care. Good luck with shopping as we were chatting prior.
Yes, we need that.
It's coming. Until next time, take care.
Bye.